Hello?
Hello, is that better now?
Yes, it is.
All right, wonderful. All right, we'll proceed, and hopefully
Wow.
that we can sort ourselves out better next time. But how are you? How are you doing today?
Wow, 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 wow.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, I'm saying, how are you doing today? My goodness. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can, but just the background.
What do
I
you
can
mean the
hear your
background? You're
voice,
still hearing?
but the word, I can hear your voice, but the words are like mixed up and with an echo. So I have to
Ah,
struggle to understand what you are saying.
okay, let's do this. I don't know what's going on with my setup here. Just a moment.
There, you sound better.
I'm better now?
When you speak like a bit louder, then that's when that
Okay.
comes. When you are a bit low.
Okay, so I can be a bit louder. Yeah, I can be a bit louder so that you can hear me. Can you hear me at least now?
Yes.
Okay, let's try and go. So I'll be loud so that you can hear me, and then we can proceed from there. Does that make sense?
I was saying when your volume is not so loud, then I can hear you better. But when you speak
Really?
a bit louder, yes.
Okay, so if I'm softer like this, you can hear me better?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, so then I'll speak as softly as possible and maybe as slowly as possible as well.
I also try to draw in so that I hear you.
Okay, apologies. I think we'll work on that by tomorrow so that we don't have these struggles. I think it might be a network issue because everything else is off now, so we're dealing with the phone. So I think it's
Okay.
a network issue maybe on my end. Okay, so if we're good and you can hear me, just confirm again that you can hear me.
I can hear you.
All right. Okay, so I think today what I wanted us to deal with particularly was just a little bit of a recap to look back at what we have achieved so far. I know that we haven't done some work in a long time, but I want us to look back and see how we can then navigate and establish the foundation that we have set up and then build from there. And so I have a couple of questions that I wanted to ask you just to lay the foundation and come to a conclusion so that we can then move forward.
You're gone.
And all that. How do you feel you are progressing when it comes to those?
You had gone off.
Oh my goodness. So I'm saying, how do you feel you are progressing when it comes to your filler words?
Now it's
Uh,
back again.
oh wow. Okay. Let me just
Maybe it's
try
the
and
network.
change. Let me shift networks. Just a moment.
Okay.
Let me shift networks here. Okay.
Coach, as coach, what happened, Coach Mike? Sawa sawa. Deadlines. Market. Wamda. Ibu. None drive bus driver mule munafanya ule. Kwa mpili twins kwa tunashika jomwali. Yo tudisha sometimes no. Kuliku? Achibashani lero ngine. Kwa mwasha tusimanje chini kwa chini. Matafa. Pale kuna pema ndani. Pale kuna.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Better now.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So we can run through what I was speaking about. So what I wanted to say was that the first place I want us to start is just to establish a baseline to get to the place where we're talking about where we are at when it comes to the journey and what are the things that are our landmarks as we are going forward. Having done quite a few of what we did last time, we went through quite a bit. I was looking through the document when we went through quite a few things as we were talking and engaging last time. But I want to feel what's your sense when it comes to where you are at with your public speaking now. What's your sense like? If I were to ask about how you are handling your words, whether we're talking about filler words, have you gotten to a place where you're confident about your frameworks? What are the things that you feel you have locked in from our previous conversations?
I can say I have. I'm confident with frameworks. Frameworks. Am I clear?
Okay.
Am I audible enough?
Yes.
Okay. So I can say I'm confident with frameworks.
Yes.
Yes, that at least most of the times when I'm speaking, I actually now use frameworks. Filler words, I think it depends. Sometimes I would be not conscious, but I would not use filler words. And other times, even when I know what I'm talking about, I will
Yeah.
use filler words.
Okay.
But mostly the filler words should come if you are not very knowledgeable of what you are sharing. But sometimes I find myself even using filler words even when I'm just explaining something that I know. So
Yeah.
on that one, I feel the filler words are still there. Then also the presence, the presence,
Yes.
like for me to get a higher percentage of the presence, I feel there's some lagging there. I
Okay.
tend to have this aspect of thinking that maybe if I go in 100% trying to create my presence, I feel like I'm bringing out an element of being like proud. I'm
Okay.
here. Yes. So when that thought of wanting to humble myself comes in, then that is the time that I think I fail to have full presence.
Okay. Noted. Now, I want to ask you a simple question now about breathing. What do you think? Breathing is one of the telltale signs of your confidence in conversation. Breathing is how you will catch someone who is nervous. So you find that in your conversation, do you find that you are running out of breath sometimes, especially if you are in a high pressure situation? Maybe you're doing a presentation and you feel like sometimes you are running out of breath, or almost like you are stressing. Sometimes people even feel like they're just about to faint. Have you ever had such experiences as we are conversing?
I don't actually feel like I'm running out of breath, but what immediately happens when I find myself in a conversation that is taking place is my heart will start racing.
Okay.
Yes, so my heart will start racing, and my mouth becomes dry.
Okay.
And once that comes in, there's a thought that comes like people are able to pick that my heart is racing. My breathing will not be audible or something that you can pick, but then it's there, but very subtle. The
Okay.
breathing is subtle, but because I tend to be very conscious of what is happening within me
Yeah.
and around me, I tend to take it like everybody who is looking at me is able to pick what is going inside me.
Yeah.
And because I have that feeling that they are picking that, I tend to lose focus.
Fair, yeah,
And
understandable. So I like what you've said, that's given me quite a bit of groundwork.
Well, say that again. Say that again.
I'm saying what you have said there has given me a clear picture of navigating that particular element, because like I said, some people they run out of breath. You can feel it. Sometimes someone will be talking and you can tell that they're running out of breath. They're almost gasping because of how their nerves have taken over. And like for you, you've said sometimes it's your heart racing and you find yourself feeling like your mouth is dry. And whenever you internalize conversations like that, like I was saying, you begin to feel like everyone around you can tell. They
Repeat
are
yourself.
seeing
You're
that.
breaking.
I'm saying
Repeat yourself.
you
You're
are saying
breaking.
that you can tell, even people around you, you feel like they can tell that you are going through this particular situation, you are straining or you are getting nervous, right? So the last question is vocal control. Do you feel that when you get into those situations where now you're dealing with, your heart is racing, your mouth is dry, do you feel like the way you control your voice begins to run away from you? Sometimes people, when they're nervous or if they're running out of breath or the heart is racing, you find that your voice begins to crack or your pitch goes high just to showcase that you are nervous. Do you experience that as well?
My voice.
Mm.
How can I explain it? It's first of all, I'll tend to speak faster than normal.
Okay.
I'll tend to speak faster than normal. Then my voice, because my mouth is dry,
Yeah.
so it's like it doesn't come out in the manner that I want it to. I want to project maybe my voice to a certain audibility level, but because
Yeah.
my mouth is dry, I'm not able to do that. And
Yeah.
at the same time, because I realize that this is what is happening to me, so I want to control it, and I'll find myself maybe having a very high pitch, which maybe does not relate with my expressions and everything.
Yeah. So the reason why I want us to establish a certain baseline is because conversation allows us, this particular conversation allows us to know how to navigate as we are going forward. The first element of your progress begins with awareness. What are you aware of? Are you able to identify the things that you need to work on and how to deal with those things? And so, if you can be able to tell what happens when you're in high pressure situations and how to navigate that more effectively, you'll find that no matter what space you are thrown into, you are able to come out even when there's this internal things going on. You're able to come out on top. You're able to still seem like you are in charge because you know what your baseline is. Now, first and foremost, understanding and being aware of some of the things that you need to work on is key, because then you can stagger and be able to know what to do in the pursuit
You
of
said you said understanding what?
the baseline where you are at.
Okay.
So being clear about where you are at, what are the things that need to be worked on, allows you now to have a clear sense of awareness, how to start
So
and begin to engage. Yes, go ahead.
okay, the other thing is the 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 f- if I get into a space where the audience, maybe I don't know the audience, my reaction is different to when I get into a space where I know the audience. Like I'm saying, Coach Mike knows me. If I go
Yes.
to I go to a place and I'm presenting something, then there's Coach Mike, there's Coach Aita, there's what. Then the moment I realize that, okay, these people know me, there's that level of confidence that shrinks somehow.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm telling myself, in just in case I don't say the correct thing or I don't present myself in this way, because these people around here know me, they might have, maybe they've got high expectations of me, and if
Mm-hmm.
I don't deliver to their expectation, they will think differently about me.
Yes.
And even myself, because I have these expectation that I want to deliver. Once I just doubt what I have presented, or when I just see the people I know, my expectations get to be, I think, higher than normal. Like I want to do more than what I'm just required to do.
Mm-hmm. That's a very, very valid point. That's a very, very important point. And I'll tell you that I'm the same. Familiar crowds are difficult to deal with because they know you, you know them, and you feel to a certain extent that you must uphold a certain perception that they have of you. And so because of that,
You're breaking.
you can hear me? Are we good? Can you hear me? Hello?
You have frozen actually.
But can you hear me though?
Okay, now yes.
Okay, great. Sorry about that. So I was saying that familiar crowds are the most difficult to deal with because you feel like because they already have a perception of who you are and the standards that they're expecting you to deliver at, you almost have to perform to that level. You feel like if you don't, you let them down, you let yourself down, they'll know that, oh, Coach Barbara didn't do well. We're expecting her to deliver at a certain level, and that's the thing. Now, the idea I actually also have to deal with. I deal with that a lot. I mean, when you're doing some of the master classes that we do, you have a lot of people come through who you know, who you respect, and who you expect that because they're in the audience, you really need to give your best. That being the case, an understanding of your baseline, like what we are determining now, an understanding of your baseline
An
will
understanding of.
help you navigate this effectively. So, the first thing that you said, which I want to quickly go
Wow.
into. You can hear me?
The line has become bad again.
Hey, today, I've tried. I'm even on. I'm on MTN right now
And
because of the same.
usually, wow.
Given, can you, if you can hear me, Given, can you put in this other gadget as well? Just add it to the stage as well. Mine, the one I'm on the back with another gadget, so try to add that one quickly.
Hello,
It's this
coach.
one.
Or- okay.
Can you hear me better on this one, Coach Barbara?
Yes.
Yes? All right, let me
And
just quickly
coach,
mute on that one. Let me just mute the mic here.
coach Mike.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Clearly?
Yes.
All right, great. So, what I was saying, God, yes. Are we good?
Yes, we are.
Right, great. So, what I was saying is that when it comes to what you have explained to me around, for instance, presence and pride, and then also you've spoken about familiar crowds and unfamiliar crowds. Um, I want to speak to particularly, first of all, presence. The idea around presence and pride is very, very interesting because it is the debate that a lot of people have to deal with. People will call it aura. When you walk into him, they'll say, okay, Coach Mike has this aura about himself. But like you're saying, there's a fine line, but not necessarily on your particular person, but rather on the people who are listening, how they interpret you carrying yourself or you presenting yourself with the right kind of presence. And you have to be able to make friends with the fact that people's opinions vary and sometimes they are educated by their own personal inadequacies, their own personal worldview. A lot of people have not had to deal with confident people. All right. So, because
Mm-hmm.
of that, a lot of people have not had to deal with confident people. So, when they see someone who is confident, it doesn't sit well with them. They feel like you are elevating yourself above them. They feel like you think of yourself more than them, whatever the case may be. And so, if you're going to be a person of presence, you have to make friends with the fact that people will perceive you as someone who is pompous, someone who is proud. But presence has a way of opening doors. Presence as a way of staging and setting yourself for the kind of impact and result that you want. And so sometimes that internal conversation, you need to be able to settle it completely to say, my confidence will come across to some people as pride. If that is the case, and as long as it is up to you, you can be able to communicate and to tone certain things down, but never to apologize for who you are and what you've achieved. And so the conversation there becomes, how aware are you of the people around you? Jesus. How aware are you of the people around you? So your situational awareness, being able to read the room, understand the people that you're dealing with. And as you study and as you continue to talk about awareness, first of all, you must learn how to be aware of yourself. And that's why we're establishing this baseline. These internal conversations are the ones that defeat us at the end. I hope you can still hear me.
Yes, I can.
Great. So internal conversations are the ones that defeat us. And here's what I mean. You mentioned to me that sometimes you'll be talking, and in your mind, because you are thinking of the fact that you are nervous, you can tell that I'm speaking too fast now, my mouth is getting dry and all that. Those are the conversations that actually lead to you and take away from your power. So those are conversations that we need to learn how to win. Internal conversations where you feel like you mentioned, for instance, that sometimes you'll be talking and you realize that I know what I'm talking about, but why is it that I'm leaning towards these filler words? I'm busy. The reason is because when we are talking, if the internal conversation is going on, you find that you are thinking, how am I going to say this better? How should I say this to sound more intelligent? Those conversations are the ones that trip us up as we are talking. And so you need to learn how to quiet yourself, how to win those conversations. And sometimes it's in the moment where you use silence as your friend. You keep quiet. So if someone asks you a question, to say, Barbara, I want you to tell me about motherhood. What are the lessons you have learned, and what are the things that you would want to impart to someone who is starting on their journey in motherhood? First things you know how to settle your mind is framework. So you put a framework in there to make sure that you're not running around and thinking about everything that you have dealt with when it comes to motherhood. But because motherhood has been a journey that you've experienced in so many diverse ways, it is not out of the norm for you to be talking and something comes up in your mind to say, oh, this would be something interesting to tell them. You are talking about the fact that motherhood is natural as long as you allow certain things to flow from you. The next thing you realize, oh, mothering a boy is different from mothering a girl. And yet you've already frameworked, you've told yourself 3 things, but the internal conversation is still going on. You need to quiet that and stick to what it is that you're trying to communicate. And so understanding that, first and foremost, I like to say doing first things first will allow for certain things for the rest to fall into place. The most important and the most essential battle to win when it comes to being clear and communicating your ideas clearly is your own internal conversation, where you must be able to be settled in yourself, in your preparedness, for you to allow, even for mistakes. I know that you're a perfectionist, and so sometimes you do not want to, anything that happens should not misrepresent you in any way. But mistakes are not necessarily the enemy of progress. Even as you are talking, you might mishap, you might say something and maybe need to repeat yourself. But mistakes don't take away as long as you are able to navigate what it is that you are doing effectively. And so filler words can show up. You can say something, you're pronouncing a word and it slips up. How you recover and how you continue and how calm you
Okay,
are in the
just,
moment is what will
Coach Mike.
determine whether that mistake becomes a big thing, or
Hello?
it's something that we move on from. Hello?
Hello?
I
You
can
need to
hear you.
repeat
Can you hear me?
yourself. Yes, but you need
Hello?
to repeat yourself.
Okay,
You
sure,
need to
sure.
repeat.
I was saying that first things first, understanding how to quiet the voice inside when you're having conversation is going to be the reason you are able to make a mistake, to stumble on a word, to use a filler word, and not make it such a big deal. At the end of the day, how well you are able to communicate is not the fact that there are no mistakes in your presentation, but how calm you are, how confident you are, how in charge you are will be dependent on how well you're able to settle the conversations that are happening internally. Meaning, if you are having a conversation, like I said, about motherhood, just because you didn't say something, you know that is a key element of what you want to say, but you didn't say it, doesn't mean that you won't have an opportunity to bring it up. So, like I mentioned, you are talking about motherhood, and then you remember, my goodness, it's actually very important for me to tell this person that mother already framework and you already delivered a trail of thought. Your audience is already now primed. You told them you're going to talk about three things, and you have now driven your agenda towards those three things. You don't allow your internal conversation to affect, you quiet it down. And you have to learn how to do that, and you learn how to do that rather through preparedness. There's a scripture in the Bible, an interesting premise, where Jesus says, be instant in and out of season, be ready in and out of season. That means that your communication journey should not be hinged on specific presentations that you only prepare because you have a presentation coming up. You must live in a state of preparedness. What that does is that it gives you a certain level of calm, even when you are called upon in a space that you are not necessarily ready for. So those impromptu conversations where you link up or you bump into someone, and maybe, for instance, this is someone that you've always wanted to speak to. This is someone that you have idolized, they're a mentor for you. And so you have never really planned for a conversation, but you know that you would want to get as much from this interaction as possible. How do you go about it? You cannot rehearse a conversation with someone like that. What if they start by asking you a question that you have never thought about? And so being prepared is about understanding what conversational cues are like, understanding who you are and how you can elevate the best of who you are in every space. So that comes from preparing. First of all, like preparing a baseline. You know, for instance, that you have instances where your heart begins to race. How do you deal with that? So, to give you a quick tip for when your heart is racing, like I said, it's about breathing generally. Breathe, take a breath, calm yourself down, quiet yourself. People think that that takes away from who you are, but when you are the kind of person who learns to use these skills, you know, someone asks you a question and then you breathe.
So the breathing, the breathing there, should it be like, because I feel like if I have to, you ask me a question and I want to breathe, I feel like it will be noticeable.
There's nothing wrong. Exactly right. It will be
Okay.
noticeable. Some of the people that I observe and watch, you'll find that you know how your thinking is evident when you are when you look around, right? One of the gentlemen that I follow, his name is Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson is very careful how he answers questions. And so you ask him a question, talk to us about what you feel is the next stage of progress when it comes to AI. And he will take his time. He'll look up, he'll think, he'll look down and breathe. Breathe noticeably and intentionally, because you're not trying to hide it. You are breathing, you're calming yourself, and you're collecting your thoughts. And when you do that, because most of us assume that that kind of posture, it gives you away. But no, it is how relaxed you are shows. So no matter how well you are articulating yourself, you made a point, as we were speaking earlier on, that you, whenever certain things are happening, the people around you can tell. And it's true. You can even be talking so articulately, but when you are nervous and you don't have a handle of those nerves, it shows. It will show in micro expressions. It will show in the fact that you are running through your points, even if those points are well articulated. And so taking time to breathe in the moment, to breathe, you take time to think. You take time to assimilate what you're being said. Remember when we were talking about being ready for an interview, you mentioned something that was so interesting, because you said you would want to write, if someone is asking you the questions, you want to take down those key elements of the question or whatever it is that they're asking. That is the equivalent of you in the moment where there's no diary and you're talking to someone, breathing. That means you're allowing your thoughts or thinking, letting that question settle. Where you are thinking, you're intentional, and you're breathing to calm yourself down. It calls attention to you, but what that does also is that it shows that you are intentional, you are calm. You're not allowing, whether it's pressure, you're not allowing whether it is your nerves to take charge. Because if you jump into an answer, even if it's the correct answer, you might find that you come across as uncertain just because of how you presented yourself. And so if I'm asked a question, say for instance about AI, and I do not know what to say, or I don't have the idea, just the fact that I can sit down and say, I think maybe I do not understand your question well. Are you able to rephrase that for me in order for me to get my thoughts together? Someone will be like, oh, okay, maybe I didn't ask the question. Let me maybe ask the question like this. Rather than you're jumping into it and saying, I think this and that and that and that. If you are able to calm yourself, whether it is visible for the person who you're speaking to, if you're able to calm yourself to the
You're
point where
able
when you
to?
speak, calm yourself. Calm yourself, you quiet yourself. And like I said, yes, it is normal. You can breathe in, you can draw a breath. Someone asks you a question and you're like, for me to answer that question, I would like to say 3 things. And at that particular point, you have control of your voice. You have control of your emotions. You've calmed yourself down. And if you have an understanding of something as simple as that, I mean, it seems so trivial, but something like just learning how to breathe and calm yourself before you say anything will ensure, first and foremost, like you don't have, your voice is not cracking, you are not high-pitched, you are not also seeming like, because I like my cousin likes to say something. He says vibe does not lie, meaning the sense you give out, not just by what you say, but how you have presented yourself. Remember, presence is more than just what you say. It is your vocal and your visual image. And if you are anxious, your shoulders tend to rise by themselves. And so that one action to breathe and to calm yourself will give you the opportunity to actually have the right kind of posture. It will empower the way that you present yourself in that moment. But there are certain things that happen automatically, involuntarily. Like you said, your voice can go up. You can start speaking faster. But just that one action of breathing and taking that in will allow you to settle once again and be able to attack and respond more effectively. So one of the things that we're dealing with now is just as simple as breathing. Allowing those breaths, whether they show up, whether they can be heard, is not necessarily the issue. Remember, The agenda is never perfection. It's never perfection. When you start with the knowledge of the fact that breathing is your friend, silence is your friend, you are able to navigate conversations a lot more effectively. It is better for people to have a conversation about the fact that Barbara has got, she takes long pauses, rather than them saying, my goodness, she rushed through those answers like she was nervous, like she couldn't wait to get out of here. That's a different conversation. And so your pauses and your silence, yes, they are something that needs to be worked and guarded, your breathing, but they are things that are your assets, especially when you're trying to get to the place where you are in control of how you come across. Your breathing, taking time to actually let those ideas settle, taking time to actually, like I said, if you were in the interview, to write those key elements of the questions down so that you can be able to go systematically in the way that you respond, is an asset. You will find that even when you are feeling like your heart is racing, when you're feeling like your mouth is getting dry, you calm yourself. You calm yourself, and in that space, you are then able to, even if you are nervous, because the nerves don't necessarily go away because you are breathing, but even if you are nervous, you are able to give the notion of control, give the notion of presence, that your visual image is going to show that this person is not afraid, this person is not intimidated, this person is not being rushed into responses, but they're taking their time and they're making sure that they're articulating themselves effectively. So that's just your breathing and your pauses, your breathing and your pauses. It, like we said, we're talking about your presence now, how you are coming across, not only what you are saying, but whether your actions, I like what you said as well, whether your actions are actually empowering what you're saying or they are taking away. Imagine that I'm speaking to you, I'm like this, I'm saying I consider myself one of the most powerful, one of the most confident speakers in this country. When they listen to me, people are moved to do what I'm saying. They understand and they do it well. Quite all right, I'm saying what I'm saying very well, but my posture is not lending to what I'm saying. But if I broaden my shoulders, I fill the room, I fill the space I've been given, and I say the same things, and I feel I'm one of the most powerful speakers in the country. And people listen when I say, people listen when I speak. It's a very different thing, but presence is the only difference. And presence has got as much to do as what you say as how it comes across. So breathing and pauses, that allows you to get rid of the effects of nerves, the appearance of nerves, the appearance of angst, anxiety, and uncertainty. And so you are able then to level yourself out, to calm yourself when you learn how to use your breathing. Sometimes it is something that you do before you go on stage. So as you are pacing behind the stage, you're waiting to be called, you are breathing, you're slowing your heart down. I actually do very, very quick breaths. For me, I go in through the mouth, out through the nose, in through the mouth, out through the nose. And then it's able to just kind of settle me. And in that state, I jump on the stage.
In through
By
the
the
mouth,
time
out through the nose.
through the nose, yeah, quickly though. Like that. So what that does is it gets oxygen in and calms me down. Other people take a breath in, a large breath in, and then hold. The heart will quickly beat fast, faster, then you let it out. And the heart begins to slow down. You breathe in, you hold, your heart gets up, and then you breathe out. And you can literally feel your body settle. You can feel your body settle. So those are some of the things that your breathing can do. But in the moment, I mean, you can't do after a question has been asked. But you can take a deep breath in as you reason out what they are saying, and then you begin to go into that particular question. Sometimes it's about a pause. You allow your thoughts to gather, and then you begin to speak. One of the most intelligent answers you can give to a question is to request that they clarify.
Okay.
I would request that you clarify that question. I'm not sure that I've understood what exactly you're asking of me. People would think it's more intelligent to be able to just answer the question as it comes. But sometimes being
Right.
clear about what is required, make sure that you answer what exactly the person is asking. Right? So simply understanding how to use breath and how to use pauses to ensure that you do not come across as nervous, you do not come across as anxious, you do not come across as a busy bee, someone who is, you know, the word is anxious actually, where you don't
Longer.
seem to be settled, you don't seem to be in control, is very, very
Even
important.
after you give your framework, but then you just fail to explain what is in the framework. Like you're all over. You've given a framework, but you're all over.
Yeah, you are all over because, like we said, remember, what happens is you've given the framework, your internal conversation is still going on. As you are saying the first thing, you are thinking to, or the last thing in that framework, you've done one and two, and the third one, you find as you are saying it, you remember, oh, this is so important, I should have said this. And then you start tripping up. You start tripping up. You find that you lose yourself in the conversation because you're not able to win that internal struggle. So sometimes learning how to calm yourself, how to reject and not allow the internal conversation to begin to influence. I'm sure you've been in a space where you're looking at someone is talking and you can tell that their thoughts are running ahead of their mouth. Someone is tripping.
You've hung. Hello. Hello.